Hello, I'm Bill, and welcome back to Bill's Workbench. On the workbench behind me, I have the WPL C14, which is a kind of cool little truck. I've already opened it up, I've already tested it out. Let's go ahead and take a look at it on the workbench. All right, here we are on the workbench. This is the C14. How it comes, well, I've already assembled it. I put all the parts on and things like that. You've seen videos like that. You've seen the unopenings, but I'm going to do the removal of the chassis so we can see what's going on and come up with some plans on what to do to make this thing even better. My plan for this is to see how far I can get this thing to go with only upgrading the wheels and the radio, because this radio sucks. So we've got a screw here and a screw there, and looks like we got a screw under here as well. One there, one in the back here. That looks to be it. No, we got two more up in the front as well. Okay, so we'll undo this guy. We'll get to this one. Now to get to that one, I got to bend the body out a little bit, which is not ideal. And this guy. Not these two, but the ones beneath it. These two. Alright, there we go. Get all the screws out of the body here. There's the body. The battery, by the way, goes underneath this back part right here. It goes in that spot. Here is the chassis. It is quite light. Not much on this thing. I wonder if this part is even needed. Let's undo these two. Alright. There is the insides. There is the electronics, the all-in-one. Electronics, both the receiver and the electronic speed control. It looks like most of the connections are underneath, so let's take a look underneath. See what's going on there. Okay, so this first one here, this goes to the switch. So that is the switch. This one, the red one, should go to the battery. The second one in this one, that goes to the motor. So this is the switch, battery, motor. That one is to the lights. And that one is to the servo. It is a standard 3-wire servo. That is very nice. And why is that nice? Well, that means I can put a different radio system in this thing if I want to. Let's take a look at the servo and see if there's any markings on it. There it is, the servo. Here are the measurements. The center. Clean that up a little bit. Make sure your wires are out of the way. Don't have to worry about the servo wire. That's screwed back up. That is already stripped out, but that's okay. We shall. What are the different main parts of this thing? Well, this is the controller. This is what receives the signal and tells it what to do. This controls the servo, and it also controls the motor controller, which is what this one is. This controls the MOSFET. The MOSFET turns off and on, and the reason we have a MOSFET and not this little thing is because a lot of amperage will go through this, and that would burn this up. So the MOSFET, this is turning power off and on. The longer the power is on to the motor, the faster the motor will go. The shorter pulse, the slower the motor will go. So that is how the electronic speed control works. And that's why you hear that noise when you drive your car, is that whining noise. That is the resonance of this thing making noise to the motor, and that's why it happens. So there's the inside of the C14. Let's look underneath and see how it compares, or how I think it compares to the MN99S, the first version. The first obvious one are the trailing arms here. The trailing arms on this, or the suspension arms, are rather thin, and they are not as robust as the MN model. Is that a problem? Probably not for regular crawling. These aren't designed to be a basher, so it's probably not going to be a problem. What I have noticed, though, is that the holes in these arms, and they do give you replacement arms, they do go all the way through. So you can replace these screws with regular machine screws with a bolt on the end, and that is going to that's going to give you a much tighter connection to it. So that's kind of nifty. It does have this bump in the front and the back where it does tend to get tied up on when it high centers. We're going to look at 3D printing a new piece for that to hold that transmission on there. These guys, the axles and all that, it looks about the same to me as the MN models. These look a little bit thinner, but when it gets right down to it, the inside parts are pretty much the same. The power switch is in a good spot, in my opinion, right there. That's a good spot for the power switch. You can turn it off and on with the body on, with the battery in. That's good. It's not going to get hit by rocks. It's not going to turn itself off like the MN99S version 2 does. Everything else looks pretty much the same. I think the MN model is a little bit more robust than this one. This one doesn't have all the stuff in the back. The chassis looks the same. The shocks feel really good for a sprung shock. No dampening on there. They do have a good travel. So yeah, the shocks are fine until you replace them with some oil shocks, but both of those have that problem. Yeah. So overall, would I recommend this over the MN model? I don't know. I don't know if I'd recommend this over the MN model. MN model is a good, cheap thing. This is cheaper. If you're looking for a Toyota with a cool back end, get this one. I mean, it probably lasts you the same. They both have the great ability to add things to it, to upgrade them. So yeah, either one is fine. I like this one because it's not a Jeep and it's not a Land Rover. All right, there is your overview of the guts of the C14. Let's get it back together and I'll show you the videos of it in action right now. All right, now right off the bat, this has a better approach angle than the MN99, even the new one. First impressions, I'm impressed. The controller sucks, but I'm impressed. The steering needs some work. We'll get that done. Oh. Yeah, let's see how it goes over backwards. Oh, I gotta get my driving better. All right, let's try this. this configuration should test the flex. So let's see how she works. Well, the front wheel just is lifting up right now. See, the front wheel is lifted just a little bit right there. See if we can drive this one-handed. The shocks on this are a little too stiff. Try this. That's not too bad. I don't think it's going to make it a bit backwards. No. Did it pass the first drop test? Yes. Whoa ho ho ho. Okay, well, what do I think of this thing? I think it's pretty good. Much better than I thought it was going to be. Yeah, I'm impressed. I am impressed. It's got a great approach angle, which you saw there, and departure angle now with that rear end. So yeah, I think with a few upgrades, not many, I think just shocks and tires, we're going to see a huge difference. So there you go. That is the C14 from WPL. I think this came out before the MN99, from what I've read on the interwebs. Let me know if I'm wrong. But yeah, it's not too bad. Not too bad at all. It's a great little crawler. I still think the MN86 is a better value. But this one, lots of upgrades out there. I'm going to do some 3D printing on here to make it better. Yeah. There you go. I hope you learned something. I certainly did. If you're interested in how I'm going to upgrade this thing to make it better with 3D printing and with parts, I'm trying to do this one on a budget. Hit that subscribe button down below so you can stay tuned with this series as well. Have fun. Happy crawling.